nail day. All right, y'all. I'm not gonna even keep holding you. Good morning. How y'all feeling? So I was like, I woke up this morning. First of all, I taught class last night, and oh my goodness, let me tell you something. I just love the energy of new students and new people in the practice, and being able to, you know, start from the beginning, even for myself, and being able to be in practice with these messy movers, and just like just having such a obviously tiring but really restorative practice. Was just everything my spirit needed. And literally I fell into the deepest sleep for like, I'm gonna try to stop hiding the fingers, because like, y'all know when you when you wear a set and then it's like a couple days out before you're gonna be able to sit down with the with the nail salon that you like. So you like holding on to the last little nails, but you be trying to like pretend like like. So anyway, I woke up this morning and I saw this post about Keke Palmer. Now, I saw the post last night with her and Usher, and I was like, oh, this is a vibe. This is so cute. She looks so good. And y'all know Keke has been just out here bussing with the looks. Like, she's just gorgeous. She looks amazing. She is really in her, like, mother era, and I am here for it. Like, and so I saw this post where it's like, and she has on this like sheer black dress, and she's, I'll lean back here so I can get some understanding of the light. So she's got like this sheer black dress on, and she's doing her thing, and Usher's like serenading her, and it's really beautiful. It's a vibe, you know what I'm saying? And her guy reshares the post, like, that it's the outfit though, like, you're a mom. And ooh, child, we needs to talk about when you ready for your freedom and everybody else ain't, okay? That's the message. That's the one of the messages, okay? That's one of the messages, because when you ready for your freedom and everybody else around you is not, what do you do? And so I thought it was interesting, that this came up. It was in our webinar last week, How to Awaken Your Sensual Self. We talked about the sexual paradigm and what happens when you're in a paradigm, or you're existing in a paradigm that no one else is. And how do you maintain this connection to this part of yourself, and something that you found value in, and something that you found as like, fulfilling, restorative, healing, sensual, connected, intimate, especially for yourself, and or shared with someone else. When you found that and it starts to become valuable to you, it starts to become meaningful to you, but other people are not yet on that journey with you, like, what do you do? And one of the things that we talked about, and if y'all want to learn more and want to be a part of the conversation with us, sign up for the free webinar coming up next week. See all the details at the link. And one of the things, so one of like, what do we do when we're in this space where we're in a paradigm? We're shifting from one paradigm to another. So what's a paradigm? A paradigm is basically, in simple terms, in terms of metaphysics, is a frame of thought. And it's a frame of thought that particularly holds a group of people together. And that group of people have agreed that this thought, or these set of thoughts, are valuable enough that this is, what we have chosen to believe in. And as a show of shared belief, we understand that we are a part of the same system. we are a part of the same group. We are a part of the same family. We're a part of the same community. We're a part of the same church. We're a part of the same whatever family. Did I say family already? Friends, work style, professionalism, like anything. So that's a paradigm, right? And so when you learn something new, or you get introduced to a new experience or a new thought or a new reality, and that starts to kind of challenge this old reality that you've been existing in. And it's not to say that you're like, oh, I want to completely abandon this old reality because it doesn't, it doesn't serve me anymore in any way, totally, completely. Sometimes it may be that, but it doesn't necessarily always have to be that. Like, values are complicated, but they just need to be communicated, right? They're complicated, but they need to be communicated. And so you're like, okay, well, this thing doesn't resonate with me anymore. So anyway, we've agreed on this set of values. I think we grown. Y'all can piece it together. And so you're like, okay, well, this thing doesn't necessarily, it starts to challenge something that I used to believe. And it starts to challenge it in a way that it's making me start to act in ways that are in countering or in opposition to what I have believed thus far. And now it's not just the action of doing something and saying, oh, this is nice, whatever, but it's really like a force. It becomes a part of your integrated experience. It starts to create contrast and dissonance for you when those things come up, especially among that particular group or with that shared group of people. And now you're in a space where you are paradigm shifting, and that shifting happens when a new set of values start to take place and start to root and become a part again of like your integrated life, like the way in which you're living your day-to-day life, the work that you're producing, the way you're showing up in the world, the way in which you're living your day-to-day life, the people that you hang around, the things that you listen to, the books that you read, the clothes that you wear, right? And so you're shifting, but the people that you originally had this agreement with, like this emotional agreement with, are still in paradigm one, right? And so it can start to feel like, well, there can start to be contention. And so, you see things happen like, what's happening with Keke and her guy, and how he's like, this is great, but you're a mom, right? And I also want to say that this is really just a rehearsed, this is also just a rehearsed response, right? It's what you're supposed to say when you're in, one particular paradigm and you're young. You don't really have much experience around, being able to form more opinion or thoughts that are, more complex around things that have been told to you to hold valuable over a particular period of time. Most of the time, in their case, your whole life, right? They're still young, you know what I mean? And so, so again, I do want to it's like, this isn't the greatest thing for you to be, one, explicitly stating to everyone else and not having that opportunity for her to have that, for you to have that private conversation with her, right? Where you can share your concerns without trampling on her autonomy and trampling on her sense of self-respect and trampling on her confidence and trampling on, this experience that she's having as a new mom and as a young new mom, really coming back into the world and getting back into her work, right? Like, you don't have to trample on that in order to challenge what you disagree with, right? And it also doesn't mean that just because you disagree means that something needs to change, right? But the respect is in being able to communicate that, in a way privately, and then giving each other a chance to talk about it in your own ways publicly, right? And being in agreement about that, right? Especially when you share this type of platform. And so I think the thing to challenge is the thought system that created, you know, this experience. And it's the paradigm, that we can end up kind of holding on to at a default, and not because we've done the exploration to understand what is actually true for us today, and what's true for the experience that we're cultivating today. And if that's not, what you're seeking or what you're wanting, then how do you make the changes, necessary, so that everyone in this space feels valued, and so that everyone in this space feels respected and loved and cherished in the ways that are meaningful to them. And again, what do you do when you're in this space where, people are actively challenging this new value system that you have? And the one thing is, you got to get around like-minded folks. You got to get around folks that are in the same space as you and exploring in the ways that you're wanting to explore, and cultivating their life in the same ways that you are, and allowing yourself to find strength in numbers, right? And so again, it's just like any other paradigm, you find strength in finding people who are similar to your thought system, similar to your values, similar to your beliefs, your experiences, so that you can continue to cultivate that in a way that's healthy, right? And then you also, in the sense of our sensuality, it's the same thing. So finding the spaces that are meaningful to you. So whether that's a dance class or a wellness class or a coaching class, or, finding different events, going to the sex toy stores in your local area always have events. Like, if you're ever looking for a place to start, just find a sex toy store in your area, and like, they'll have a list of events, and from there you'll find practitioners, and then from there you'll be able to dive into their individual practices. Your sensual dance studios, your pole dance studios, those are great places to start. And then online classes are a boom. Let me tell you something, there are so many practitioners that have classes online, including the Messy Movement Lab. And so there's a wealth of information and spaces to be able to dive into to start your journey. And you have to find the spaces that are right for you, right? Like, everything's not going to work for everybody. So you have to kind of move around and find the different practitioners that you're looking for, and be willing to ask the people that you trust, like, hey, like, I'm looking for this type of experience. Like, where would I go for that? Or do you know anyone that would know where I would go for that? And just start to seek the evidence that you're looking for. And this is something that we talk about in class a lot. Like, you have to seek the evidence that you're looking for, because we have a lot of evidence of why we shouldn't do something, or why something is wrong, or why it's not good, or why it might not work, or whatever the case may be. But how do you look for the evidence that says this is gonna work, this is great, this is a good idea? Like, ooh, look at this, like, this is more inspiration, this is more ways to express it, this is more creative, this is, whatever the thing is. Like, what are the things that also affirm the thing that you're craving or desiring or looking to explore? So I just wanted to share that with y'all, and I hope that um, mm, I hope that you all enjoy. And I think that, like, last thought on sensuality is, your sensuality is a force of power. for you. And it's a fuel source. And it can never be disrupted by someone else's thought or opinion. And being able to connect to that fuel source is so crucial.